Hey guys, I wanted to stay up to date with where I'm at basically. Um, so much is changing so fast, and I wanted to actually explain or express a ridiculously amazing insight that came to me about breaking point. So it's so funny when I'm beginning to decipher these insights in a different way. So originally I thought when they're coming through, I was like, I've got to share them to the world because everybody needs these insights. And it's like, well, no, these insights are for you. And I've kind of mentioned that before, and I'm talking really fast for some reason. The insights are for you. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So anyway, 2 days ago, I had an insight about breaking point. And I was like, oh, that would make a really good video about breaking point. And then I just sat down to make the video and something else happened. And this is why I love this stuff. It's because when I was explaining breaking point, the way it got gifted to me in the vision was like two pathways. And so, we all know breaking point is when we end up losing our shit, right? And then we go, enough, I'm not doing it anymore. And that's often when the biggest changes happen, because I get this visual of like the world exploding, and for a second you're like, whoa, where you're actually in a place where there is no world. You are in like this ultimate nothingness, basically seeing reality or seeing the truth of what is. And then as everything reforms again, it looks different. And so this is so incredible on so many levels, right? Okay, so back to my insight. Now, I had this picture of like this fuse, okay? And so life is like this fuse. And ultimately, as we're traveling along, say a situation that's not aligned, is that the right word? A situation that's uncomfortable. Anyway, there's this fuse and it's leading to a huge pile of dynamite. And often this can be like before people's awakening. If you think back before you had your awakening, it's like you were living on this fuse, right? And you were just like burning up. But while you were living, all of this dynamite was getting piled at the end. So like all of your traumas, all of your triggers, all of your addictions, like all of the stuff is just like piling up on this pile, obviously, of like dynamite, right? And so you're living life as this burning fuse, and you're getting closer and closer and closer to the bam. Okay, and that's when all of the amazingness of awakening happens, which is great. So it often happens, I don't know, through NDE for me, or illness. So it can happen through illness, accident, losing your marriage, losing your job, whatever. It's basically known as breaking point, okay? So when I was explaining this in the video, and this is the awesome part, the insight guided me to picture it with two pathways. And so take, for instance, a situation that you're having difficulty with. So let's say a partner. And so picture yourself with this partner and fast forward in your timeline really, really slowly or quick, whatever, and just see in the negative way how long and how much is going to occur before you actually do something about the situation. And so basically your breaking point. And so map out exactly what has to happen and all of the stuff that could be building in this dynamite on this fuse, right? It could be just building and building and building, and then get to the point where it explodes. Get to the point where you actually explode breaking point, right? Now, that journey probably doesn't feel very nice, and it's not really somewhere that we would like to experience life going, okay? All right, so then the other pathway. Now, the other pathway, I want you to imagine the best outcome. And not just the best outcome at the end, I want you to see and envision it actually unfolding. So if everything went according to how your heart and soul desired it, how would it end up looking? What would happen along the way? to ultimately achieve the desired well, that too, but outcome at the end, right? And when you've reached that outcome, I want you to come back to center. Oh man, I can feel this. I can feel the energy of people doing it. It is such a beautiful, heart-opening experience, because ultimately when we are heart and soul aligned in how we would like a situation to go, it changes our life. Now, for some of you, option number 2 may have ended with ending the relationship. It may have ended with a communication. It may have, just ended with being on holiday in Switzerland. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But the point is, moving on from here is up to you. And this is the biggest thing to realize, is when you hold that image, when you hold that desire or that want or that will, it's just like desire and want just don't feel nice. So that will, that really heart-opening will to have the outcome, you have the possibility to manifest it. Okay? Now, there's 2 benefits about this. Because 1, you now have a specific blueprint of how this can turn out. Number 2 is you can now know if something goes off or out of alignment, then you have little warning bells about it. If it's in your first pathway, do you want to wait until you get to breaking point? And I'm not saying to end the relationship and just tap out, because that doesn't help anybody. Well, it could help some people. And if that's for you, that's fine. But I'm not saying to run away. The biggest thing is what is your heart and soul desire? Because the difference is, number 1 is the worst case scenario. That's where you don't want it to go. So you've actually, what you've done is created 2 scenarios, one that you don't want and one that you want. And this is so big, because the one that you want, you'll be able to feel is heart and soul aligned. Okay? So if you were ever unsure of it in a situation of how you can be more heart and soul aligned, do this practice. Go down to breaking point and then go the way. Once you identify breaking point, you can go the other way. And then, if it's something to do with your business, for instance, then you can manifest all of this beautiful stuff. Ultimately, our imagination can be used as a tool to bring something to us, because ultimately when we can start to tap in to what's occurring inside our mind, inside our imagination, when we think about what do I want the most of. And the beauty about imagination is that there's nobody there telling you it's wrong. If there is, that's you. But there's nothing in there telling you that it's wrong. So when you are coming up with this idea that is wholly and solely aligned, then that means that you're creating your future. Because the third benefit is that if you envision being at the end of the second pathway, at the hotel in Switzerland, if you feel that energy, you know it's coming. If you know it's coming, if you know it's in your reality, guess what? It will be. It will. It doesn't have a choice. Because if you believe it's happening, it has no choice but to happen. How incredible is that? Like, I'm just soaking that in. I'm going to watch this back so many times. Wow. it just really changes everything, doesn't it? Life is so magic, and it's just incredible. It really is. I hope this helped, like, it just freaking opened up so much for me, which is why I'm like losing my speech right now, because I'm like, because it's downloading so much stuff, which is the benefit of these videos for me, because I'm someone that has to talk it out. And if I'm going to talk it out, why not talk it out to myself and then let everybody else hear? That's how I think. But so much stuff is coming from this beautiful, beautiful being as I become so much more in line and aligned with true nature and true soul, and just so much. It's too much to say in the video, but thank you for listening. And let me know if where your two pathways ended up. Okay, see ya.